All right, it's the Wishbone. It's Holden. It's JT and Uncle T with the Bengals hat on. I just love our intro music so much. My daughter was on one of our shows when I was out of town last week, and she was listening. She said, "Daddy, that's the best music." So we were jamming out to that music. We have the best intro music in the bit. I mean, I'm just so pumped up right now. Hi, Uncle T. What's happening, man?
Welcome back, Holden. It's good to have you back. JT and I, well, I won't speak for JT. I missed you last week, Holden.
I don't know why.
Big T stepped in and JT ran the show, and we had a nice Wishbone pod, but it's always good to have the main guy back in the seat there. So good to have you back, Holden.
Thank Uncle T. That's so nice of you. And as I told you in the Discord, I'm coming to the party this year. You can disinvite me all you want.
Did you notice, Holden, how I didn't respond at all?
Oh, no, that's why I'm bringing it up. Your job.
Asked me 2 questions. You asked me 2 questions, and JT, you asked me 2 questions. Didn't get an answer on either one. Neither one.
It wasn't a question. It was a statement. Can't wait till you pick me up at the airport in your Mustang with your mustache.
I don't drive anymore. I don't drive.
Excited. Yeah. JT, you got a smirk on your face. What's happening in JT's world these days?
Yeah, you got to tell me what time your flight is. We'll coordinate flights so Uncle T can come and chauffeur us back to the house. That's Uncle T usually spends a good amount of time chauffeuring me back and forth to the liquor store, which I'm always very grateful for.
Oh, I'm not going to the house. No, I'm not staying at that house.
No. But you go there to hang out.
Yeah, I'll go there to hang out one day. Yeah.
He doesn't chauffeur me back and forth to the hotel. I mean, that would be a thing that a great friend would do. A good friend will take you to the liquor store and back. Yeah. And I get that. But back to the music. Now that we're using this new software to record our videos, I mean, I get to listen to that music, and it is. I mean, I can only imagine now the excitement that our subscribers have felt for the last 2+ years when that music comes on, knowing that you're 2 minutes away from absolute nonsense and greatness. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I don't know what that means, but okay. I feel like I really didn't get anything out of that from you. Were you being serious or facetious or what?
No, our subscribers love it too. One of our favorite guys, B Nair, says that's going to be his wedding song. So I mean, he's heard it enough that it's sort of like, why wouldn't you want this to be the song that you dance to at your wedding? And get the wife on board, just be like, hey, honey, get used to this because it's not changing. I'm not changing my mind.
I like that. What can we expect at the RPS party this year, Uncle T?
I mean, it's been a while since we've kind of brought it up as far as what we're going to do. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of talk on the different events and golf, and I think there was a foot race. Like DC and Rubio and somebody else like Kurt are going to be in a foot race or something. And I don't know what all we got going. I think Big T is going to put a spreadsheet out there, but I think they're going to try to rent a big house too. Did you guys hear that? I think they're going to try to rent a big house or something so that we don't all have to go to Big T's, to be honest. So I'm not sure. We got to get on it though, because we're only 2 months away. So it'll be a good time.
JT, what do you remember from last year? Can you give us a little insight?
Played cards pretty well.
Played cards a lot. I'm good in a foot race. I'm not going to do that though at this point. Feats of strength maybe would be good, JT.
Yeah.
What
feats of strength would you prevail at?
Probably like throwing rocks or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd throw
Grayson
a rock.
Throws rocks pretty good. Maybe you take on Grayson.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Grayson throws rocks? How old's Grayson?
I think it'd be an even match, probably. Maybe he'd be minus 120 or 125 against you.
How old is he? 12?
Like 7.
He's
7. Yeah, I'd make him 125 favorite.
He's the house favorite. The house favorite.
It's good to come in dog money, though, Holden. Your dog money to start. That's good.
Who's staying at your house, Uncle T? I'm not asking. Listen, you'd say no to me, but who stays at your house?
Nobody.
You don't put anybody up from RPS at your house.
I don't have a like a big team mansion. I got a little house. I don't have anything
you have
big.
6 bedrooms.
That being said, if anybody wanted to, there's no doubt I would have them come. There's no doubt about that. But the topic has never come up. But
do you have a queen size bed?
No, I've got the king. No. I got a king size bed.
No. You do, but the other rooms, is there one? Because I was thinking snuggling with JT.
I think they're queen size. But JT, if JT stayed down in the man cave downstairs, he'd have an 80-inch TV down there. So that would be good for JT.
What do you think about spooning, JT?
Not with you. In general, I'm kind of over those days in my life.
Yeah. How did those days go, JT?
They were great. They were great when I was younger, but now it's sort of like, even when there's been activity, it's like, all right, now it's time for you to go to your area, and I go to mine and I fall asleep, and that's what
that happens. Is so on point, JT. Right?
Isn't it?
Like, give me my personal space. I know I was just up in your guts.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
No, we know. It's okay, Uncle T. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'm on the other side. I like to get a little bit snug after you get it done.
Really? You like a little cuddle?
No, I just wanted to be opposite of you two.
Oh, so you don't like a good cuddle after the
Uncle T is unintentionally showcasing his beta. So
JJ taught me that from the golf bed shows. He taught me how to do that.
Oh, JJ is the ultimate beta. There's no question. JJ's the bitch in his family. But that's okay. We love JJ, and I can't wait to do the propped up show with him later on today. Hey, I sent you guys the Odell Beckham video. Did you even bother watching it?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. JT?
No, it came with a nice description of the cliff notes of what happened.
All right, so this jackass, who does not get the benefit of the doubt ever in the history of the world, goes on an airplane, apparently falls asleep. Who knows what he was taking? The pilot's like, put your seatbelt on. He doesn't do it. The stewardess, it's not a stewardess anymore. What do they call him? Flight attendant. Excuse me. I don't want to get canceled for using stewardess. The flight attendants, she comes out, please leave. And he won't leave. And then what happens, because he won't won't put his seatbelt on and then not leave, is that they have to take this plane and go all the way back, and everybody on the plane has to unload just so this jabroni can get off. And then he goes on Twitter today blaming you don't know what it is. You don't know how it is to be me. Well, there's a video showing that you're a complete donkey. You need attention. Obviously, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. And honestly, I'm happy he didn't get signed by a team coming into these playoffs. Go away, OBJ. And I've never said this before. If he tears an ACL again, I won't cry. Get the hell out of the league. I know it's cringeworthy, but I truly believe this. First time I've ever said this about a person. Screw you, OBJ. Come on the show. Debate us. We'll be more than happy to. More than happy to. Go away.
Was that an open invitation to OBJ?
Yes, I just gave him an open invitation.
I'm not sure if you've got that authority, but I appreciate it.
Oh, I've got that authority. I'll send him the StreamYard link.
All right.
He calls a guy fat. He makes everyone deplain, and then he comes out and he complains that it's not his fault.
Who would you rather have on your team, OBJ or Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown.
Wow, that was quick. JT?
Antonio Brown is one of the greatest receivers in the history of the world.
But he's still a clown.
Yeah, he's a clown, but he's not playing anymore. Like, he's not even asking to come back. And OBJ never had the balls to take his jersey off in the middle of the game, just run out and raise his hands.
I'm not sure if Antonio Brown even realized he's out of football. He probably thinks he's coaching football. He's probably like, yeah, we're getting ready to play Dallas this week.
Yeah, I'll take Antonio Brown in a heartbeat over OBJ. In a heartbeat. He's more talented too. Maybe he's not more talented. He's a better receiver though, and his knees didn't fall off. So that's my thoughts there. Any other football or life stories you'd like to address before we get into this 6-game slate from a DFS perspective? Talk about betting and some other things with it. JT, what else is happening in your world?
I mean, that was pretty vicious. I'm sure that OBJ is now going to be furiously scrambling to get this show posted on his calendar. We may have to do it next week because I'm sure he'll want to come on and rebut what you've said about him, which is nothing short of inviting the karma gods to do something horrible to your body. So,
nothing else horrible could happen to my body.
Let me try to invite him on Twitter right now. You guys go ahead.
And please do that, Uncle T. Please do that. And you're misusing karma. You're talking about instant karma, because karma is just, that's after you're gone. Instant karma is what you're talking about. And once again, I don't believe in witchcraft. Superstitions, karma, it's all bullshit.
Do you get that from your spiritual advisor that you go to?
I do. My Sherpa. I have a Sherpa.
That's great. That's great.
He leads me up mountains. He leads me down the primrose path. My Sherpa is better than your Sherpa.
I don't have one, so your Sherpa is automatically going to be better than what doesn't exist. But does he lead you down the paths and the trails of the Colorado mountains with Sweet Travis and DC? You go hiking with them as a trio, as a threesome.
Sweet Travis has not gone on a hike with me.
He won't. That. Why? He won't go with you, or you won't go with him?
Probably the second one. Do you really want to be stuck in the car with him for an hour and 15 minutes and then have to climb up a mountain? Yeah, and then I got to climb up a mountain. I got to come down the mountain and drive back another hour and 15.
I didn't realize how far away it was. It sounds now like a major commitment. That's why maybe.
Well, I mean, I could go hiking 5 minutes from my place, but if you want to go to the glacier, which is where I know he wants to go, I got to drive an hour and 15 minutes to a glacier.
Is that safe? Is it safe for
I love it. I walk up the glacier. I haven't died yet.
Have you taken the lady up there yet, Holden?
I did take the lady up there.
How'd that go?
Her in the car on the way down the hill.
How'd that go for you?
Wonderfully.
Good. And you both made it back down.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little concerned that we might crash, to be perfectly upfront with you, JT. But no.
No, but no, I mean, nothing intentional. I mean, there's a spate of these incidents where women are disappearing, and not just in Sacramento where our guy Fred lives. But
the guy that you're supposed to talk to is not here today, JT.
I know, but I do have questions. So this guy, you see this story? This is heartbreaking in a way. It's heartbreaking in a way. So this woman in Massachusetts is missing, mother of 3 children, very sad. She's been missing for a bit. So, unfortunately it doesn't look good. And then they go into the internet search history of the husband, and it's, how to dispose of a 115-pound female body.
Oh, Jesus.
Which sounds pretty bad. So I was telling my wife the story, and she's like, well, I hope you would never search for something like that. And I said, absolutely not. I said, I would need a little bit more weight. But never mind. So
you said, could you imagine saying that to her?
No, I couldn't just say that to her. But I thought it was funny. So,
it was a good line.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good line. Yeah, I would have to search 400 pounds and how to get rid of the body.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to get rid of the cat too, right? So.
Oh, the cat's definitely going. The cat. So add another 10 pounds. 410. That's what we need.
Wow.
Have you been out? I mean, I know it's not super cold in Denver all the time, but have you been out on walks with the cat?
It's beautiful today. It's 50 and sunny. Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
That's crazy weather out here, dude. We'll get a blizzard. Next day it's 80. Everything melts. It's a crazy place. Really
300
crazy
days of sunshine, right?
It's right up there with San Diego and Vegas and all those places. One of the sunniest places in the world. People don't realize that. That's why a lot of people are moving out here, no doubt. Uncle T, you and I discussed. Personally, I'm done with this podcast. I really don't want to talk to anybody anymore. I was thinking this is our last one, and I said, let's do a Super Bowl spectacular. That would be great. JT was basically on his hands and knees begging us to do another one. How far along do you want to do this podcast? Because I'm down. I'm here to help people.
I'll break the tie. I'll break the tie.
Oh boy.
Now I got to think which one I want to go with.
All right, so I was the one.
Holden, but I don't really care for Holden. I like JT, but I think we do a Super Bowl spectacular. I think we try to get G Rising, maybe bring on Rubio or Mangone or a couple guys, and I don't know. What do you think, JT? You want to do one next week?
I mean, I was on board for doing one. I'm not sure why we limit this to football season. I mean, I know that it's Holden's laziness. I mean, for the most part, but I think, it's up to you guys. Whatever, that's fine.
You want to do this year round?
I don't know about year round.
Yeah, you said why just football season? Well, what other season?
Doesn't mean I want to do it year round. It just means why only football season.
Okay. Why? Because I don't know. They gave us the option to do the show or not. We're not even obligated to do the show.
How many years have we done this? Have we done this 2 or 3 years?
This is our third. This is the end of our third year, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
One of the longest running RPS shows, right?
Oh, easily. What's run longer than us? Final Countdown?
I mean,
That's about it.
I think it's a pretty damn good show, to be honest with you.
That's about it. It's always great to be delusional, Uncle T. But we will do a Super Bowl spectacular for everybody then, and 100%. And maybe we can get a listener or something. If you're listening to this on YouTube, if you're on YouTube and you want to drop a comment and you want to hop on the Old Guys Pod with us for our Super Bowl spectacular, I think we should put a listener or two on.
I think we should put one listener on and one RPS guy that listens all the time, and you know who I'm talking about. We'll get Stevie Boynton on with us, and then we'll get one listener on.
Let's do that at the end.
Bring Steve on.
Let's do that at the end because he'll put everybody to sleep.
He will, but
he's what? No, that's not nice. That's rude. That's rude.
Truth hurts sometimes.
The bad part is it'll be one less listener that'll go back and watch it afterwards.
You'll definitely go back and watch it.
Be careful about diminishing our audience too much.
As it diminishes. We do love Stevie Boynton, though. There's no question. I bust balls, but Steve's one of our guys here. College basketball is definitely a sport I'm trying to get better at DFS. I just can't figure it out, man. And I watch a ton of it.
Did you see they had like one of the first slates too? 2 RPS members shipped college finals seats. I mean, the stuff they do is just great.
I'm just too dumb. Like I wish I could figure it out.
Helmet, can you clip that? Can Helmet clip what you just said?
I mean, I've said it on many shows. I'm too dumb.
Oh my gosh.
That's going to show up in so many other videos.
Yeah.
I will say this while we're giving praise a little bit. How about Kurt, my man Kurt, doing the Euro League? My man had 4 of the top 10 scores, yesterday again? And there's not big prize pools, but my man grinds the Euro League every day. And I give him credit. Like I said, some of these sports that, a lot of people don't, and me for sure is probably one of them, but we got guys that follow these sports that you can still make money. So I give Kurt a little shout out. He does a great job. We talked about Stevie with the basketball, but Kurt with this EuroLeague stuff. I mean, the guy gets up at like 5 a.m., goes and works out, and then he just grinds this EuroLeague, which I couldn't name one player in that EuroLeague, but you just pull up his stuff and you can put together a nice team.
Is that Wembaya guy there?
What's that?
Oscar Wembaya, is he out there?
Not sure. Is that a hotel? What is it? Oh, that's a player. Thought you were talking about some kind of hotel or something. I've never heard of that.
Wembanyama.
Isn't he? Well, he's the guy that they think is going to be the number 1 draft pick, right?
Right. He's supposed to be like a generational player.
Right.
Oh.
Kurt, you mentioned Kurt. He threw out this tweet yesterday, and it was funny because it was talking about EuroLeague, and it's like, I like Thomas Satoransky because this guy's going to be out. And I started laughing. I was like, Jesus, I follow NBA every day, every team. And I'm like, I didn't quite realize that Satoransky was out of the league, but I knew I haven't played him in a while. So it is pretty amazing.
I can see Kurt, JT, when he's grinding this Euro. I bet you he's got like he's got his big board up here on the right. You know what I mean? He's got his stuff on the left, the big board. I mean, I could just see him. You know what I mean? I mean, again, it's a compliment, not a put down. It's a compliment. I don't know how he does it with this stuff, but anyway, he had 4 of the top 10 scores, I think last night or the night before. So
good for Kurt. AFC Championship game is next, boys. It's going to be played in Atlanta, JT's backyard. That's if the Bills and the Chiefs face off, to which I say is a travesty. This game needs to be played outdoors. These are 2 cold weather teams. We need snow. I'm very disappointed it won't be in Buffalo if this game is played because we could see a dome game anytime. So please, NFL, I implore you to just reassess what's going on here. And please put it in Lambeau Field or in Cleveland or in Pittsburgh, because I don't want to see these 2 teams indoors when they both play outdoor games. And for those of you that are going to like Mangone, yeah, but we want to see them fast on a track and not outside. Well, you know what? The Bills scored 30 points routinely outside in the snow. As a matter of fact, it's a much better viewing experience. But now they're going to go put it in a dome named after a German car. Will you go, JT?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think you obviously take the worst case scenario and run with that on almost every situation.
Like
I think this is fantastic.
What's the worst case?
You're just complaining. You're whining. I wish you would do the rest of the show in Travis's voice. in your rendition.
Well, that was a pretty good voice for Trav. That's the second time I brought him up. He really is one of my favorite guys here, which is why I bring him up, JT. Notice I don't talk about you.
That's a lie.
I know about the crush that you have on Sweet Travis. It's fine. It's fine.
He's such a good kid.
But no, I am. I'm pretty excited. First of all, two things. One, if I'm being completely honest, I really do hope it's the Bengals playing one of these two teams. Yeah. So I think that would negate the fact that they would play at a neutral site. But if that happens and we get Bills Chiefs again, yeah, I'm excited about maybe the opportunity to go here and see what's gonna transpire. So we'll see what happens.
Uncle T, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this whole situation. Obviously, you weren't here last week, Holden, but I was at the game, with Buffalo, and I just think the Bengals got screwed here. I know I'm a homer, but I think they got screwed here. And I'm not saying there was a great way to resolve it. I'm not. It was a situation that is never going to hopefully ever come up again. But you're looking at the Chiefs that lost to both the Bengals and the Bills. And I know the record is what it is. They were one game ahead of them and stuff, but it just feels like the Chiefs are the one that backed into the good situation here. And the Bills are kind of where they were at, I mean, the Bengals win against the Bills. They went on Sunday against Baltimore, and it plays itself. I don't know. It just I do like the fact if it is the Bengals, I do like the neutral site. I don't necessarily, Holden, I'm going to agree with you. I don't necessarily like that it's indoors. I'm not saying you got to pick the coldest city to have it in, but I do agree that the game should have probably been played outdoors if it comes to that.
See, you're wrong, JT.
Well, I'll tell you this though. You know who is excited? The people who run Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because as a season ticket holder for the Falcons, I helped finance the stadium with my PSL. And so they send me updates from time to time. I just literally got one at 4:40 p.m. And it says it's from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And the title is stupid, but then it says plus potential AFC Championship game location announced. And it talks about how that game would be on Sunday, January 29th at 6:30 Eastern. And looks like I may have an opportunity to get in on some tickets.
How many tickets can you get, JT? If it's the Bengals, can you get me and Big T a ticket? We'll fly down.
Yeah, I just got the email 30 seconds ago, but I will research that. And
I'll go ahead and look, and then me and Big and
scalp them to those guys. JT, you can make some money off these dudes.
How much you think that the Bengals fans, the big Bengals fans, would pay?
At least
big
20%.
as in like they got money, or big as in stature?
No, as in like profile, like a high profile Bengals fan, like yourself and Big T.
I'm 5'11" and 200, so I'm not going to profile very good anywhere. But
That's
Big
not
T
what profile means, Uncle T. That's not what profile means, Uncle T. High profile, famous, a celebrity.
Again, that's not me. That's
I know. It's Big T.
Oh, well, I don't know if many people are going to recognize him either. Not many people are going to recognize him either.
You never know. We've got a big RPS following in Atlanta. I told you guys. I told you guys about the story of someone that used to be a member recognizing me down at a hotel in Florida.
That happened to my chiropractor. I'm not even kidding. I was wearing the Run Pure Sports logo. This was like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Well, how did you get RPS stuff?
Oh, because when we launched, they're like, "Oh, you're really important. We're so happy to have you." And now we're like, now it's like, "Yo, fuck this guy. Yeah, he doesn't deserve anything." So I'm wearing it. And he's like, "Hey, dude, I watch you guys. I love your guys' content. You help me win so much." And I was like, "Thanks, man. That means a lot to me." He's like, "Oh, you guys are so funny." But then, Uncle T, this is just what I heard. Somebody in your family does not like that I'm vulgar. Just there's one person. There's one person in your extended family that does not like my vulgarness, and I'm gonna have to catch up with this person.
Do you know who it is?
I heard
the Big T Senior.
Big T's dad.
I think he's the only one that watches the shows. So by process of elimination, I think it's him.
What's Big T's dad's nickname?
That's Big T Senior. That's what Hoop calls him, Big T Senior.
He should be Grandpa T.
Well, he could be.
I'd like that. JT, what would you go with, Grandpa T or Big T Senior?
Papa T.
Papa T. Ooh, Ice Tea.
No, Ice Tea doesn't sound like an old name.
So Holden,
is.
did that person tell you that they love the content after they said, "Wow, you're so much smaller in person," or was that the comment?
Which part of me was smaller in person?
I'm just wondering.
My chiropractor has odd techniques, JT. He works on things that he tries to straighten everything out. So, anyways, let's get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
we've got a DFS side of things, and we got a real a betting side of things too. And we've got a 6-game slate. So prices are going to vary just a little bit, but we got a intra divisional matchup between Seattle and San Francisco. The Niners pretty heavy favorites here. This total sitting around 42.5. Uncle T, I'll start with you here. This is the least, and this is why it's Saturday at 4:30 Eastern. This is my least interesting game of the slate. It used to be the Texans had this time slot every single year. They get in the playoffs. Nobody want to watch the Texans. Nobody. Well, now we got the Seahawks. Scooter riding Pete Carroll against the unstoppable 49ers. Give me a little breakdown here, DFS wise.
Yeah, DFS overall. Again, we'll talk about the 6-game slate, right, guys? So
yeah,
looking at this, and we always see it in the playoffs, but the 6-gamer here, the pricing in most areas here, I just looked about an hour before we went on, and the pricing is pretty soft. I always get frustrated at times when you have these slates, 3 games, 4 games, in this case, 6 games, where they don't price people up. We'll get to the receivers and such in a little bit, but I feel like the pricing is where you can pretty much fit everybody, or not everybody, but you can fit the kind of team or the build that you want to build in, and I don't necessarily like that. But that being said, the first game there, I'm with you. It's a 42.5 total, Seattle on the road. The Niners are one of the teams I've been pumping up the last 5, 6, 7 weeks. Brock Purdy, he hasn't done anything great, but I know he's got a great rapport with George Kittle. If you look at Kittle's numbers in the 4 or 5 starts since Purdy has come in from the injury there to Jimmy, he's crushed, right? I mean, he's crushed. So, he's been the quote unquote game manager. And I think they're going to get Debo back, right? So San Francisco is one of my teams to come out, or is my team to come out of the NFC. Now, for DFS purposes here, I probably won't have much of anything, possibly a defense, maybe San Fran's defense here. But I actually like Seattle plus the 9.5, even though I like San Francisco to win the game. 9.5 right now, at least that's what I'm seeing here. 9.5 feels like it's too strong of a number here. So pretty much DFS wise, I don't like a whole lot of anything. You can pay up for Christian McCaffrey. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But for the most part, it's a stay away game for me.
Kittle's been on fire. Even with Debo back last week, they're still looking his way.
Yeah, I just said that, Holden. In my intro, I said that.
I thought you said all you wanted was Christian McCaffrey.
No, I said he's developed a great rapport with Kittle the last 4 or 5 weeks since he's been in there. I thought we were going to go position by position like we always do.
We do?
I mean, we can go game by game. That's fine. Yeah, I mean,
game by game's better. But as Spread Astaire, who is not here, he's currently in the California penal system. As he had said earlier in the week, JT, that the 7 seeds last year just got blown out. And I do wonder if that happens again. Looking at these 2 7 seeds, Seattle, the first one, they're not playing good football, JT. They eked in last week too.
Yeah, they needed help in the form of a Lions victory late on Sunday night. And man, wouldn't you rather see the Lions over like the Seahawks over like 3 or 4 of these teams that are in but we're not going to get that this year. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I saw people around the industry talking about, well, the line moved 2 points to Seattle's side, and it's tough to beat a team 3 times. Yeah, I just don't see how Seattle beats San Francisco. I just don't see how they do it. I mean, assuming everyone stays healthy, the defense doesn't have any massive injuries throughout the week or the game, I just don't see it. Could it be more competitive because, this is the 3rd time that, these teams have played, and I just don't know. San Francisco's so deep on both sides of the ball, and that's why when Uncle T says about, what would you want from the San Francisco offense, it's tough because the prices, at least for these guys, are up on most of the slates. And my feeling on McCaffrey is I think they'll use him as much as they absolutely have to use him until they get to the Super Bowl. And so it honestly makes me like Eli Mitchell at 4,700 a little on the 2-game slate on Saturday, because you pop him in there and let's say he gets, what he's been doing, 4 or 5 carries, 50, 60 yards, maybe gets a touchdown. You're golden, especially if McCaffrey gets like 17, because now with Debo back, unlimited snaps last week, it does naturally reduce my interest in anyone in the passing game.
How about Lockett, though? Can we throw a little Lockett out there in a trailing game script, maybe?
I think Lockett is probably – I mean, DK is only – it depends on the slate, but generally they're priced within 200 of each other. Lockett's cheaper. They've done a good job of covering up DK. Lockett has been the guy that's gotten loose. And remember, just like we saw, last weekend in the smaller slates on – I think it was the Saturday slate last week that was smaller, the week before Sunday. You're going to see a little bit – depressed scoring here for the most part. So, if Lockett gets you 14 at 6K, that might be enough. And he might be one of the top receivers on the slate.
Interesting. All right, that's game number 1. Game number 2. Oh, hit the like button. That'd be great. All that bullshit.
Good job, Holden.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
That's why you've been voted RPS's best host 3 years in a row.
Oh, I got Employee of the Month, too.
Yeah.
One time.
Still doing that?
Being the RPS. No, after they gave it to me, they're like, we can't do this anymore. This is a farce. It's a complete farce. We're not doing this.
Credibility is lost.
Yeah, it's just awful. Guys, I'm so concerned about getting us out of this show. I got to hit this button. It's going to be a mess. Anyways, like button BS. Brandon Staley, Chargers, Jaguars, second favorite game on the slate behind the Giants and the Vikings, but woo! Chargers 2.5-point favorites on the road, -137, 47.5 is the total. So the Jags getting 2.5 in their backyard. Brandon Staley is I don't want to call him the OBJ because that's not fair. Brandon Staley, for all the hope that we had in him using numbers and analytics, he is a buffoon. I am watching the Broncos-Chargers game, A, because I have to, B, saying to myself, the Chargers are down by it doesn't matter. They wrapped up the number 5 seed. We're in the fourth quarter. Why are we playing our starters? Mike Williams is now questionable for the game because he was in there in meaningless snaps. Nick Bosa, Nick, right? Which one's which Bosa? Joey Bosa leaves. He's hurt. He's going to be fine this week. But constantly, this guy just makes mistakes. This is why I cannot back the Chargers. I think when it comes down to it, this guy is going to be put in a position to make a call, and in the playoffs, everything is magnified. And this is why I like the Jaguars. I like the Jaguars in this game. Now, it's a different question when we're talking about DFS. So, JT, I want to start on that the LA side. Austin Eckler, where is he on the running back list this week?
For the reason that I just talked about with San Francisco, I think he's a better play than McCaffrey. He's cheaper. He's going to come in. They're the 3 top running backs, at least on the Saturday slate. McCaffrey, McCaffrey, Eckler, and Travis Etienne Jr. They're all going to come in 50% ownership, right? So I like Eckler out of those 3. You can both run on the Jacksonville Jaguars, but we know what Eckler does out of the backfield with the pass catching ability, the targets, the routes run. Williams is a guy that's been injury prone his whole career. When he's healthy, he's explosive. He's great. And, they say Bosa is going to be fine. Williams is questionable. I think they'll both, it's likely because it's a playoff game, they'll both get out there, but it's not outside the realm of possibility that they're both a little bit dinged up now because of this, as you called it, you could even say the Mike McCarthy of the AFC, where he's got these guys, out there in the last week of the season when their seed, they couldn't improve anything. There was nothing they could have done, win or lose. And, the Buccaneers, really the same position. They let these guys go out, get a couple of repetitions, and get them out of there after the first quarter. I think Brady stayed in a little bit longer. But to your point, just a massive, massive blunder. And it is. The Chargers historically have had a tough time going on the road to the East Coast. And now this late in the season with some injuries popping up, I kind of like, I'm not a huge Doug Peterson fan, but I am a fan of what he's done with this team this year and the way that they're playing. And Trevor Lawrence, the Chargers defense is a little bit healthier. They have been a little bit tougher against the run, but Etienne is a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. And Uncle T's favorite receiver in the NFL, Zay Jones, just 4,300 on that Saturday slate. So it's a really good spot for him.
Who do you like from this game, Uncle T? I'm thinking Eckler, maybe Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen. Obviously, those are the big names. Gerald Everett. And on the other side, Ingram. Zay Jones has been quiet lately. Kirk, Lawrence, Justin Herbert on the other side too. There's a lot we can go to, right?
Yeah. First off, from a betting standpoint, this is one of my favorite games of the week. I like Jacksonville here. They're, at least from what I'm seeing here, they're catching anywhere from 1.5 to 2, and one spot maybe 2.5. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I know why the Chargers at times will get love from the betting public, but I like the money line here as well with Jacksonville. I think they get it done at home. I think they send the Chargers packing, one and done, coming cross country. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars quite a bit from a betting standpoint. And then from a DFS standpoint, I love the game even more. I do think this game is going to have some points. It's the second highest total on the board. JT brought up some really good points about Eckler and ETN. And then the one thing I'll add, if Big Mike is out, which we're not sure if he is or isn't, but definitely that'll give a bump to Palmer and to DeAndre Carter.
I think Eckler too.
Yeah, you're looking at a couple real cheap pieces there if you needed to. And then you mentioned Zay Jones. He has been quiet, but the price tag, the price tag's pretty nice. So, 4,300, you can get a lot of value in this game without necessarily going to the top. And then you mentioned the tight end. I've been off of Everett for quite a while now. I played him a lot during the early part of the season, and he's been okay lately. 9.5, 10.5 points. It's fine for 3,900. But there's another tight end I want to talk about later that I like a little bit more. So, but no, JT wrapped it up pretty good. But I just wanted to mention again, if Big Mike's out, clearly that'll give a bump to Palmer and Carter for sure.
Okay, let's move on to the Sunday slate. Then we got 3 games here: Dolphins, Bills, Giants, Vikings, Ravens, Bengals. So 2 games with some pretty bad quarterbacks. We've got the Dolphins and the Ravens. I think Huntley's going to play. It looks like he's trending that way. I don't know if it even matters. And then Uncle T, this Miami side. I mean, even McDaniel's saying, guys, he's the heart and soul of this team. Tua is. And now you're just rolling out garbage. 13-point dogs, the Dolphins on the road. 43.5 is the total. Like, Uncle T, would you at least take a shot on a Tyreek or something like that, hoping for a dump down and an explosive play? What do you want to do with this Miami side first?
Yeah, the Miami side is really tough. I mean, I'd like to be able to figure out a way where Miami can kind of keep up in this game with, I'm assuming it's going to be Skylar Thompson, right? I don't even think Teddy's going to be ready, right?
Thompson,
so, yeah. And I'd love to be able to figure out a way where they can score 17 to 21 points somehow. Because if I can figure that out between now and Sunday, I think I might like this game a little bit. I just think this game could be ugly. I think it could be maybe a 31 or 34 to 10, 31-13 type of game. I just don't see Miami keeping up. And it's really bad because I really like Josh Allen quite a bit in this spot. I just don't know if they're going to the 2 games previous to Miami or against Miami this year, he's thrown for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. So he's had 2 monster games, but that's with, the game going up and down both of those games. And I don't know that the pace is going to dictate that type of an environment this week. So again, I probably will have some Josh Allen, just hoping that maybe Miami can kind of keep up. And the one guy I like to pair with Allen is Dawson Knox, tight end. I like pairing him with Knox this week. Diggs is, Miami's handled Diggs for the most part the first 2 meetings this year. And Big Gabe Davis, who I've liked probably and played more than probably anybody, just doesn't seem right. He's had 2 big games all year long, and the other games, he's got 2-3 catches for 30 yards. So I like Allen a little bit. Running backs in this game, I don't necessarily like any of the running backs either. I don't know. Maybe JT can talk me onto one. James Cook still is pretty cheap at 4.8K. And you mentioned it, Holden. If you do try to figure out a run back and you want to grab Tyreek at 7.9, I'd probably rather go with him, even though he left the game last week with an injury. He did come back, so that was encouraging. The $1,300 savings down to Waddle, I just don't know if Waddle – I'd rather go Hill, I guess is short answer. I don't know that Waddle hasn't shown me anything recently, so I do like the Tyreek Hill call if you're going to have a run back. But the 2 guys I like in the game, again, Allen, if I feel like the game could go back and forth, I love the price tag. I love Allen, and I like Dawson Knox.
What about you here, JT? You want to start with the Bills side at least so we can get some plays?
Yeah, I do think it's a little tough to see this game being competitive for a number of reasons here. On the Bills side, Knox is cheap, and you saw this last season though with Gabe Davis, right? He crushed in the playoffs because teams focused on Diggs, and that left him wide open. And of course, Josh Allen was able to take advantage. But now you've got other receivers in the mix here. McKenzie has been more of at least a little bit bigger role this year in terms of target share. They elevated Cole Beasley from the practice squad. It doesn't mean that they're going to target Cole Beasley a bunch. It just means it's another guy to potentially take targets away depending on what Sean McDermott wants to do. So, it is they're going to score points. The question is, once they get to 21, 24, do they need to go any further, or is it going to be a run out the clock situation with Singletary and more likely Cook? So maybe Cook for that reason is interesting. Then on the Miami side, yeah, can't see Skylar Thompson, getting enough successful volume to really make guys like Waddle or Tyreek that effective. Interesting note here, Raheem Mostert has missed practice the last couple of days. So that's a thumb injury. He did go for 135 yards, 136 yards, and a couple of catches in that first meeting. That was when Wilson was out. So if Wilson is the only running back there, he's cheap enough where you could see a game plan where they say, hey, we're going to have to play ball control to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, limit what we ask of Skylar Thompson, which would bring Wilson into play a little bit at 5,400. And then, if you're assuming that type of game plan, could you take a shot with Tyreek? Because he's the guy that gets the passes around the line of scrimmage. It's just that Tyreek is so expensive, and the weapon at quarterback is just not good.
Yeah, I'm worried about Mostert too. Broken finger, pass catching back. Interesting if you'd go with Wilson there. And then Isaiah McKenzie's hamstring is bothering him. There's another issue that you got to look at. Jalen Waddle might actually Jalen Waddle's got to be at least in the pool for me. He always is, it seems like. So there's some plays, but as you mentioned, Gabe Davis. Playoff Gabe Davis. We like playoff Gabe Davis. He's starting to get some looks here now. Did he have 10 targets? Was it last week?
10 targets, yeah. 10 targets last week. The price here is 4,800. I think McDaniel's sharp enough to realize that he's got to try and take away the biggest weapons on the Bills side.
Yeah.
And I think that would have him focus more, certainly on Diggs, maybe even a little bit more on Knox. They've been pretty good against tight ends most of the season, but Knox has exposed them. It's tough. If this game were Tua starting, I would definitely be more interested in Waddle. It's going to be tough even to get Waddle and keep him in the pool with Skylar Thompson because he's just not accurate enough.
Anything else you'd like to add to this, Uncle T?
No, we can move on.
Good. Giants, Vikings, my favorite game. Vikings -3 at home, 48's the total. These two teams played about a month ago. It was a hell of a sweat. Giants backdoor covering in that one. And then they had a chance to actually win the game. I guess, can you really call it a backdoor cover, though, if they had a chance to win the game? They had a furious comeback late, almost won that game. Justin Jefferson went for 193. Nobody could stop Saquon Barkley. JT, I think there is a bonanza of DFS goodness in this game, really on both sides. A little worried about Kirk Cousins not being in the 1 o'clock time zone. I can't believe I'm saying that seriously, but I am. And on the other side, to me, Daniel Jones is going to be my favorite quarterback this week. Richie James, Hodges, he's got cheap weapons that he can throw to as well. Saquon's my favorite running back. Is this going to be chalky? The Giants side? Because I love the Giants side. If I like him, it probably is, right?
I'll tell you here in a second because I wanted to. Yeah. This is going to be.
This is the game.
Popular. This is going to be pretty popular. It's going to be pretty popular.
Right.
So, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. I mean, right now, I think this is probably wrong. But one of the things I'm looking at is showing about 30% ownership on Jefferson, and theoretically on this slate in this matchup, he should be closer to what, 70?
Yeah.
I mean, the outcomes here that he's 8,600 on DraftKings on the Sunday only slate. I mean, I got to give him a 70 to 80% chance of being in the winning lineup, right? And so when you look at that, I do think it's good leverage to play him even at 30% ownership. People are going to chase KJ Osborne a little bit. Thielen, the prices are cheap there. But you mentioned on this Giants side, I mean, I think we talked about this the week that these two teams played, because I remember someone commenting that, oh, who wants to play the Giants? And I said, if you're looking for a cheap stack, Daniel Jones, and look at his receivers. This week, his receivers, 4,200 for Slayton, 4,100 for Hodgins, 3,900 for Richie James. You've got Saquon at 7,900. There really isn't a tight end that gets involved. Bellinger hasn't seen a whole lot of attention. Man, that's pretty cheap. And then you can fit in some of the other plays. So it's going to be popular. It's going to be popular for good reason. And these two teams defensively are just, hampered. They've got injuries. They haven't been good. And this probably comes down to who gets the last score.
Uncle T, I think you're on the same path with us. We like some of the weapons here. Who's your favorite weapons from this game?
Yeah, this one's definitely I was with you, Holden, a couple weeks ago. I had the Giants plus 4.5, so I got to cover as well with you. Yeah, this is going to be very popular for a lot of the reasons JT mentioned. Both quarterbacks are in play here for sure at the price tags. And you look at the receivers, you got Jefferson, who's 8,400 on the 6-game slate. JT, he could be probably 93 or 9,400, and that would probably, in my estimation, be more accurate. And I would like that more if they would have priced him up. I know it would have been sounding crazy, but on this type of slate, 8,400 on the 6-gamer, I agree with you. He's going to have to be, if not the highest, he's going to be right there as far as the highest owned guy. And I can't make an argument against it for sure. So, and then you mentioned it, if you don't want to go there or you want to grab some of these value pieces, they're all sitting right there, 4,500 or below. The one guy I do like quite a bit, and I had him a few weeks ago in my stack, JT, you and I were both on that game, actually, if you recall, is TJ Hawkinson. I had 5 teams that week. I had Hawkinson on 3 of them, so I had 60% Hawkinson that week, and he went off for a huge game. Now, can we chase a similar game a couple weeks later in the same matchup? I wouldn't say chase, but I don't know. I don't necessarily mind going right back there. I know I mentioned Dawson Knox that I liked in the game prior, but him and Hawkinson are going to be my two that I really want to pin my hat to here this week. So I like Hawkinson quite a bit. And I don't have as much interest. Holden, I like Barkley and Cook a little bit. I know you mentioned Barkley. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to pass on the running games here. And if I'm getting the exposure, maybe again, pass on the running games and go with the passing game and hope that they get all the points in fantasy through that channel and not the running game.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I love me some Saquon, especially in the passing game this week. That's a prop already bet over 3.5 receptions. Yeah, I like him. I like Eckler to get in the box. There's a lot of good options. Let's face it. Christian McCaffrey's pissed off because he didn't make the Pro Bowl. If you want to do that, Eckler led the league in touchdowns. Barkley is just all around greatness. One guy I don't love is Joe Mixon. Let's get into this one now.
Let me ask you a question before we do that. How long does Christian McCaffrey's anger last? Because
until through the Super Bowl.
I've been hearing that he's angry about this, and it doesn't seem to have an impact on whether or not Kyle Shanahan plays him more snaps.
I know. I like Elijah Mitchell too. I'm with you, buddy. Especially if you're playing FanDuel, but we got to bring him up, right? Speaking of which, looks like Snoop Hundley is going to end up starting. Not only is the man inaccurate to begin with, he has shoulder tendonitis in his throwing arm. His right arm, 40.5 is the total. Listen, Uncle T, I'm coming right back at you, buddy, because it's your Bengals who are 9.5-point favorites at home. The interesting thing is these two teams just played, right? So it's a division rivalry. And Baltimore has a really good defense. But I have a feeling you're going to be on these Cincinnati guys. Tell me who to play.
Yeah, I'm actually not holding. I don't think.
No?
I think. So I watched the Baltimore game at the local sportsbook, FanDuel sportsbook, over the weekend, and I don't necessarily like this game from a fantasy perspective, Holden. I just feel like, again, we're recording this on Thursday this week, and it could change, but I feel like with Huntley in there, and I think the path to victory for Baltimore is clearly not going to want to go up and down the field on Cincinnati here. They're not going to win a 38-34 shootout with Huntley. I think they're going to try to, if they can, I think they're going to try to run the clock. I think they're going to try to muck the game up, try to keep it low scoring as much as they can, grind the clock. And I think Baltimore's path to victory is like 17-13, 20-17 maybe. And I look at that game last week. It was 27-13. The Bengals had, two defensive scores, or at least one defensive score, and the other one set them up for one. So Cincinnati's offense was a little out of sync last week. Burrow and company, especially Burrow, actually. He was really off, I think, last week based off of, again, the Buffalo game. It didn't seem like they were themselves. So maybe a week later they play a little bit better. But for me, I'm kind of staying away almost all over the board. I don't like it from a betting standpoint. 9.5, it could go even higher. I just look at it similar to the Buffalo-Miami game where I can't trust Skylar Thompson to keep the game close. I don't know that I could trust Huntley here either to keep it close. If I had to pick someone betting-wise, I would have to take Cincinnati. But for me, it's kind of a stay away, and I really don't like any DFS pieces, as crazy as that sounds.
Not even Chase.
Those guys are fine, right, Holden? I'm never going to tell you not to play Jamar Chase.
I think Piron gets a little work this week in a bad game script.
They could. I guess. I just think Cincinnati gets up in this game again, 14-17-3, and it plays similar like it did last week. I just don't think Baltimore is going to be able to move the ball. And if Cincinnati gets up, I think they're going to try to grind the clock and just get out of there with a win.
Yeah. JT, are you with Uncle T on this game, or do you find some goodness?
Yeah, it's tough. And if you look at it just from a mathematical perspective, right? We talked about Justin Jefferson's price and him being too cheap. Conversely, and I'll start with one guy that I was thinking about while you guys were talking about it, which is Saquon. Saquon 7,900. That's his season price, right? So there's no discount there. You look at Chase, 8,100. This is his price. This is what he's been priced at almost all season long. So The guy I like is Tyler Boyd at 4K. I think he got a touchdown last week in this matchup. 7 targets, 5 receptions. T. Higgins is questionable as well. Did not practice on Wednesday. So I don't think there's a report.
Actually, he got the touchdowns against the Bills. He didn't score last week, but he also got 5 and 50.
5 and 51. So 5 and 51 for him. So I like Boyd, and it's the same. It's the same feeling as San Francisco, Seattle, but for a different reason, right? Division teams that know each other. The games tend to play slower. Third meeting. And I kind of see it being lopsided. And with the Bengals having enough weapons, like if Chase gets 18 again, could that be enough? It could be, but I think I'd rather take chances with Jefferson. So I like Boyd here at 4K as 14% owned, at least projected right now. Cheaper play.
A little cheapy. Okay. Means we got one more game to go. Monday nighter, Cowboys at the Bucks. Cowboys 2.5-point road favorites. 46 is the total here. I think this has crept up just a little bit. Tom Brady 7-0 against Dallas. JT, I don't think Dallas is going to make a run here. I'm not a McCarthy guy. But I think when I look at the Bucks, is this just going to be magically snap your fingers and they're going to be they're bad football team, JT. They're not good. Defensively, they've taken a step back. Now, I do like Fournette with a busted foot. I think a lot of people are going to be off of him. They're just going to give him the ball. And, I don't think White's going to get as much touches as he had in the regular season. But how good are the Bucks really?
I mean, the Bucks, you know,
They're 8-9.
yeah, they're 8-9, but also, I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, this is a Todd Bowles coach team.
Yeah.
So what do you realistically expect here? The coaching here is on both sides really, really questionable. I don't know what to expect here. I mean, people are all over the Dallas side, or excuse me, the Tampa Bay side, and there's definitively more talent on Dallas, right? There's just really no question about it. There's more talent on Dallas. There's more big game experience on the Tampa Bay side, but there's nothing to push Tampa Bay over the edge. You know, it's not like they have a coach who's going to come up with a creative game plan. I mean, at Tampa Bay, it's the same game plan every week, no matter who they play. It's just Tom Brady dropping back, and whether or not he has time is whether or not he goes into the flat to Fournette or down the field to guys like Godwin and Evans. So this will be, I mean, I guess this will be on the 6-gamer. It'll be on a 2-game where you'll have the afternoon, the late game on Sunday, and then this game on Monday, and then a showdown slate, I'm sure. And it is tough. I mean, you know, the running backs here for Dallas, Pollard, Elliott, 6,500, 6,100, pretty much fully splitting the work. Those prices are going to be different on a showdown slate. So it's an intriguing showdown slate. And I'm sure, I think we'll have a show for it, Print Factory, on Monday afternoon. Haven't confirmed that yet, but I think we will, because I know there's going to be a ton of interest in it. So I'm sure we'll do that. But yeah, I kind of do think Dallas can win this game and maybe take a contrarian approach and say that this is the game where Brady's going to finally look like someone who maybe should consider hanging it up.
Kind of like he did in that Super Bowl against the Eagles. We thought he should hang it up a few times, and the guy just pulls a rabbit out of his hat. But
no, that's the thing.
He's got weapons too. Godwin and Evans.
He does, but this defensive line for the Cowboys, I think, can get to him. Now, does that mean that the Cowboys are going to make good decisions? Does that mean they're going to come in with a good game plan? No, it doesn't.
No. Uncle T, thoughts on this Monday Night Football game? And can you start with the Bucs? Any weapons we want to go to? Am I crazy for thinking Lenny is going to turn it on here in the playoffs?
Yeah, real quick, Holden, before I get into this game. I know JT mentioned the showdown thing on Monday for this game. For people that are watching, we are going to have our showdown page or cores up for each of the 6 games this weekend. So each of the 6 games, we will have our normal cores, you know, all the coordinators will have a playbook for every showdown. So just wanted to mention that. So, but as far as this game goes, I'm kind of in line with JT on most of his thoughts here. I like Dallas in this game. I like them giving the 2.5. I think they win the game. And again, the people that watch this show all year, they know I'm not a Brady guy, and it's really not necessarily that, because I haven't been on Dallas a lot either. But I'm going to hop on Dallas here, I think, for some of the reasons that JT mentioned. I think, you know, do you want to chase Evans' big game again? You know, he had 200 yards and 51 fantasy points last week. I'm not in love with Tampa's running game. I know you mentioned Fournette, but I'm not in love with their running game. And I just think they're going to get behind in this game. And I think Tom's going to have to step back and throw, you know, 35 to 45 times. And I like Dallas to get to him here a little bit. So, and then from a DFS standpoint, I like a lot of the pieces on Dallas. I like CeeDee Lamb's going to be one of my favorite plays on the board. So I'm targeting the Chargers Jaguars game, and in this game, for the most part, I do like some pieces of that Giants Vikings game, but I like some pieces here as well. I like Dalton Schultz if I can find room for him. I've already mentioned a couple tight ends that I like today, but I may go to a 2 tight end build as well. I haven't really looked too deep into that yet, but but CeeDee Lamb's going to be one of my guys. And then I might have some interest in Tony Pollard as well. I mean, Tampa does a pretty good job against the run, but if Tampa gets up, or if Dallas gets up in this game, I could see where they may use, Pollard to, kind of grind the clock a little bit. I don't know if, again, all these times, whenever we talk about this stuff, it's all game script, right? I think Dallas will get the lead here and force Tampa Bay to throw the football. But I don't necessarily like either quarterback here. If I had to pick a quarterback, clearly it would be Prescott, but I really don't like either quarterback. CD Lamb's going to be my favorite play.
CD Lamb. I like the call. Love me some CD. All right, boys, we're done. We are done with the show. Uncle T, we know JT wants to do a show next week. I'm ambivalent. I don't know if that's a word that fits, but it sounded like a nice one. It does, doesn't it, JP?
It sounded good. I don't know if it means
I don't really
a word
care.
or not.
I can go either way. Uncle T, make the call next week or the Super Bowl Spectacular. Let's
do it. But I got a busy week next week with games on radio. But let's find a Wednesday night or Thursday in this time slot in the afternoon, and let's do it.
JT wins once again.
Yeah, let's see if spread's available. If you can get a hall pass for an hour to get to the audio.
Say this time slot is definitely where I could do it Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I will say that.
All right, cool. Hold on. Can you guys kill some time because we're using the StreamYard thing and I have to find the outro? I'm just very upfront with everything that I ever say. I have no freaking clue. There's like outros and all sorts of stuff, and I'm supposed to hit them. Then again, this is the old guys pod. Does anybody give a shit? No.
JT, how would you grade Holden's performance today?
I'd give him a D minus.
D minus? Wow, I was thinking like C plus. I thought he actually had one of his better shows today.
I mean, what's a better show for Holden?
I mean, a C plus. That's a pretty good grade for him.
He's lucid. He's not falling asleep in the middle.
I mean, his hair looks good. He didn't shave, for the record.
I haven't shaved in a while.
That looks awful, by the way.
Trying to get out of cunnilingus this week. Look at JT. I don't know what goes through his mind sometimes.
I never know what he's doing.
I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's thinking.
Just wondering how you're going to fuck this up is what I'm wondering.
All right, let's try it.